Hey friends, welcome. Gonna do just a quick review of kind of my yearly recap of reading. It was obviously this is a new channel. I didn't touch on everything that I've been reading early, but just the way everything worked out, I think it was a very bottom heavy year for me. I read a lot of okay stuff at the beginning, and then I got some better stuff at the end. But kind of the thing that started off my year, and I read this book, and I didn't read anything better since. This is my book of the year. It came out, I think, late 2000 or 2021. For me, this was the book of 2022. Warren Ellis's Nina Simone's Gum. I've been a huge fan of Warren Ellis for a long time. Huge fan of Dirty Three, so I knew him from that. Most people might know him from being in The Bad Seeds or Grinder Man or stuff like that, related to Nick Cave and that kind of thing. Often does like film collaborations with Cave, for instance. Warren Ellis is the violin player in 33 and sometimes guitar player. He's got a really cool tenor guitar thing going on. The book itself, I would think it would have a lot of people who are interested in artistic practice, interested in Dirty Three and that kind of stuff, but even just, it's more about obsession of artists and musicians. So the book itself is nonfiction, but it's sort of about this one moment that happened. I want to say it's All Tomorrow's Parties or something like that, but Nick Cave got to curate a festival, a music festival, and got to pick the artists, and he asked Nina Simone to join them. And I think this became Nina Simone's final live performance ever. And right before she played, Nina was chewing gum, and she put it on the edge of the piano and left it there for the entire performance. Just had a piece of gum there. So when the performance ended and she left the stage, Warren Ellis was backstage, but he got to kind of jump the barrier, and he took that piece of gum of hers and kind of treasured it for years and years. And it kind of goes on this journey of him being obsessed with this piece of gum, turning it into molding it, turning it into gilding it, and kind of turning it into this art piece in and of itself. So it's a book I definitely recommend to musicians, people interested in art, and just why we obsess about art, why we obsess about the artists that we love, and why we do what we do. So I thought it was a great book. Would recommend this. So this is my book of the year if I'm reviewing everything. But largely what I kind of been covering on this channel so far has been fiction. I would say nothing groundbreaking that you have to read, but I'll kind of point out a few things that I read this year that I thought were pretty good. I've touched on Muriel Sparks' The Girls of Slender Means and 15 Dogs by Alexis. Both I thought were good, so if you want to hear my thoughts on those, I'll find them in the previous videos. Just before that, I read Optic Nerve by Gainza. That I really liked a lot. Kind of reminded me of Villamatas quite a bit. His kind of work on kind of writing literary meanderings about art itself. And so hers, kind of the framing was really cool. She's an art historian and art educator, and she sort of weaves bits and pieces of her life through paintings that she loves, and sort of compares and contrasts them, and goes through things with difficulties with her father, or deaths, or breakups and things like that, difficulties with friends, and relates them to art she finds moving. So it was a very interesting framing, very cool book. And to find something a little more contemporary and CanCon, I read 59 Glass Bridges by Stephen Peters. if I'm remembering. It was early on in the year, so it took some memory. Very, very affecting to me as a Calgarian living in the plus 15s. If you don't know what those are, they're sort of bridges between buildings across our downtown. It's sort of they're 15 feet above the street, and so the novel 59 Glass Bridges specifically is sort of about this guy who's trapped in an endless series of like hallways, and he eventually gets to like glass bridges. Very kind of similar almost to like the movie The Cube, if you've seen that. Very surreal kind of guy in a liminal space, not really understanding what's happened to him. Possibly is dead, possibly is in purgatory. And yeah, very cool. That's put out by New West Press, so that came out a few years ago. Thought that was quite strong. Another one of note that I thought was pretty good was Cold Dog Soup by Stephen Dobyns. I think this one's long out of print. Even the film it was made out of is long forgotten, I think. But I loved the film, and so I found a copy of the novel itself and read through it. Very dark humor. So much about a New York that no longer exists. A very gritty, almost post-apocalyptic type of New York that is remains scary. So the plot is a guy goes on a date with his girl. She's with her mom, and the dog dies, and she's so distraught that she tasks this guy to go bury her dog right now. And he kind of ends up on this madcap adventure trying to find a place to bury this dog. Tries to sell it to some very nefarious underground. And if you like dark humor, this one would be worth tracking down. If you're really squeamish, I'd say steer clear of it. Yeah. The whole book has a guy carrying around a dead dog the entirety of the book. So I like that one a lot. And to end it, I've got a couple of kind of plugs for some friends who wrote good books in the last year or in the last year and a bit. So I'll point them out. My friend Derek Beaulieu just published a book of incredible concrete poetry, his kind of patented work of letraset work. And this one in particular does a lot to do with manipulation through photocopying through Xerox machines. Worth tracking down. I'll have links for all of these ones in the below, Helen Hajnowski's Frost and Pollen. I'd like to point out, I'd especially, for me, this one was top heavy. I especially liked I think what was the first part called? Yeah, Bloom and Martyr. The kind of part that was sort of very lush and lyrical and almost Gertrude Steinian in the use of language. I thought that was easily the pinnacle of the book. That was the one that like really sold it for me. The other one, kind of about Gawain and the Green Knight. The Middle English, I had a hard time with, but that first part, this book was awesome. Definitely get that. And definitely order up Kyle Flemmer's Barcode Poetry. I Sammy-edited this, I guess, in a way, just to give him a hand, but he did these incredible minimalist poems written in the specification of length of barcodes, thickness of barcodes. Each barcode will have a number of letters, and so he was constrained to that. And the humor, the wryness, there's a certain level of sarcasm, sure, but a very smart collection that's so much more than it initially appears to be. This is put out by Kyle's own Blasted Tree. Get that. So yeah, three books of kind of contemporary, experimental Canadian stuff that was all fantastic and folks I know. So, and I've read a lot of poetry this year, but weirdly, these were the three strongest things I actually did read. So, maybe there's bias there, I don't know, but I'm not usually one to really be that nepotistic. I just thought those ones were weirdly strong. If you want something that is just just easy to read, I would honestly say truly for everyone, especially just people I know who are making art, who are obsessed with, have obsessions with things, obsessions with books, artists, musicians, and like he articulates like trying to pinpoint that idea of like why we do what we do, and I loved it. So, um, I'll see you in the new year. Hopefully, you'll be reading some books. I've got books to read too, so I'll see you soon. Bye.